Welcome, everybody, to episode 5 of Getting Personal with Web3 Founders. I'm Jack, your host, and I'm excited to be here today with Solo, CEO and co founder of Calaxy app. Are you ready to get personal, Solo?
I'm ready. Excited to talk with you today.
Nice. Let's do it. All right. So, the question I always love starting with is who were you before Web3? Before Calaxy, before Web3, who was Solo?
Before Web3, I was an investment banker. So I come from traditional financial services. I went to school for finance, worked in investment banking for about 5 years. It wasn't until my other co-founder, Spencer, brought crypto to me. Spencer Dinwiddie, he plays on the Brooklyn Nets, well known to the Hedera community, well known in crypto. But he had been pushing me on it since 2017. I kind of pushed it off for quite some time before early 2019 when we reconvened on it, and I haven't really looked back ever since.
All right. So, and before investment banking, what was
Before
that?
investment banking, I was an athlete, so I graduated
Okay.
from school in 2017. So not to age myself in the bad way, but graduated in 2017. Played football for 4 years at UPenn, and prior to that, I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, so I'm a Midwesterner.
Nice, nice. So you say your current co-founder introduced you to crypto. How was that? Was it straight into Calaxy, or did you have a preliminary experience with crypto or Hedera leading up
Yeah,
to that?
Yeah, so actually, the Calaxy origin story is quite unique. So Spencer became the first NBA player to tokenize himself. So he securitized himself and offered security tokens against his NBA contract as a means of unlocking trapped liquidity in that asset or that perpetual cash flowing asset. I was a securitization investment banker. So my brother actually started the conversation saying, "Hey, Spencer has this project. He'd really like to securitize himself. I don't know what any of that means, but it sounds something like what you do every day." And so that's kind of how we started talking, and really was like sort of project based. Definitely talked a lot about the industry, talked about tokenization, talked about how it can actually increase efficiency in traditional markets too, with settlement times taking 2-3 days for cash settlement and things like that. So we
Mhm.
definitely had talked about it in a broader scope, but the first action item was that tokenization project or that securitization of himself and his NBA contract that got the conversation started.
Well, so Calaxy was an extension of that one experience, I guess, of tokenizing that individual. That's kind of
Yeah,
what led to the
absolutely.
rest down the rabbit hole.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it was the idea of tokenizing somebody, but we thought there was a much bigger opportunity instead of just focusing on people that have NBA contracts or sports contracts or music royalties and being a sort of capital markets engine. We saw with the boom of 2021, the NFTs, the creator economy, a much bigger opportunity to tokenize the creator economy as a whole, or content creators as a whole. And so that's kind of where you get the shop experiences and kind of the Calaxy that people know today. But we've obviously been building for quite some time, been building for almost 4 years at this point. And so there's definitely been a number of iterations to the project. We have a pretty extensive roadmap, and we're just now shipping and deploying stuff to MVP in a public state and getting really feedback on it. But very early days in the project.
Nice. And how would you describe what you do now to a family member that's kind of outside of Web3 or doesn't really understand what Web3 is? How would you explain it to them?
Oh man, my role specifically, or Calaxy. My role is
Your
interesting.
yeah, your role, I guess, as a job, like if a family member say, what do you do for a living? But also Calaxy, I guess. Like how would you explain it? So a bit of both.
Yeah. I mean, I would say for myself, my job and my day to day changes every day. Lots of it have to do with visionary things or like being, sort of onward looking. And so for us, my job is to, orient the company and give it the best chance to succeed. So whatever that might mean on a given day, that might be, focusing really deep in product with our product team, or it might be, fundraising, or it might be going out and getting the strategic partnerships we need to accelerate the business and grow organically. But just very much depends on the day. A lot of times I'm pretty public. I'm pretty outspoken as a person. And so maybe like the way I go about doing things is a little bit different. I like to write a lot. I like my thoughts, and I like to be at the center of discourse, or at least involved in discourse, with the industry, whether it's creator economy things, finance, crypto, all of these types of things. So a lot of it, it varies on a day-to-day basis, but it all kind of adds up into, being the solo that's needed to try and, make best and get the most out of everyone on my team. In terms of Calaxy, there's a lot of ways to describe Calaxy. But I think the most succinct, easy way for us to describe Calaxy to the audience that is listening today is that Calaxy is the first non-custodial wallet that does things. Legitimately is the first wallet that does things outside of just holding crypto. And what we aim to be is that social layer or interface on top of a wallet that makes it easy for any human being, no matter what their interest level in crypto is, to interact with the blockchain and have fun and enjoy this world of collaboration that we've built. And so that's probably the easiest way I would describe that. So what people know us for is obviously allowing that to be applied to a creator getting paid, but there's nothing really stopping us from creating the easiest mechanism for content for any user really to transmit value on a peer-to-peer network without a third party involved, through a wallet that actually does things. So kind of the Venmo or Zelle equivalent, to the bank account. We aim to be that sort of project to the average user. Obviously, if you're into NFTs or, we have some other features dropping that could really accelerate, people looking to manage communities, and obviously, find ways to grant different types of permission to, to segment communities better. So there's a lot of ways to describe Calaxy. So in the early days, it's a little bit tougher to do so because it's easier to see than tell. But we're excited about the roadmap that we have planned ahead.
And like for yourself, example, when you use Calaxy on a daily basis, what for someone listening, what would you do on the app on a day-to-day basis or on a weekly basis when it comes to features and functions and
Well, I mean, at this point, I mean, it's a lot like Twitter. It's a lot like Instagram. So it's a social feed. It's a place for you to connect with your community, connect with your friends. But it's also a way, like I mentioned, to transmit value. If me and you went out to go get a pizza right now and split the bill, it was $25. Like, is there any wallet out there right now that allows you to send $12 easy to split that, or $12.50, whatever it is, within 5 seconds? That's at all equivalent to something like a Venmo or a Zelle. And the answer is no, like the entire industry. And so like that's a very clear thing that Calaxy could be used for. But then also if you're really into content creators or you want to follow your your favorite content creators, you want to get access to them in ways that you can't, we're able to allow content creators to productize and tokenize any type of experience, and sell that to their community. So going back to, what I mentioned before, it's a non-custodial wallet economy. It's an economy built on top of a non-custodial wallet, that allows the average user to do things.
Love it. So switching gears a little bit to you personally, what does a typical morning routine look like for you as the CEO of Calaxy?
In the morning, oh man, it depends. I'm really big into the gym. I love fitness. I think it's very important, to start the day off on a strong note. So I usually wake up early, go to the gym, try and sweat a little bit. Even if I can only get in there for 30 minutes, I'll go do some cardio, sweat my eyes out, and come back out. If it's early, we have a lot. We have a good amount of meetings, but we also don't overbook meetings. Like we don't like to just be in meetings for the sake of being meetings. Everybody on our team has a very clear role, and very clear vision on what it is that they're need to set out to accomplish that week. And so for us, we use comms tools all the time. We communicate in Slack. We communicate in Calaxy. We do a lot of different types of communication throughout the day, and then I like to write a lot too. So towards the afternoon and the evening, when I have more time on my hands, I'll probably start planning out the pieces that I'm looking to write for the next little bit as well.
Going back to Calaxy, even though we're on Calaxy as well, what's been your biggest challenge at Calaxy, like for you personally?
Everybody will have an opinion of how you go about doing things, and everyone has the desire to have those things right now. And I think that's like the difficult part, is really managing everyone's expectations and having them be, happy with whatever you ship. The reality is you can't be everything to everyone, nor do we aspire to be. But we do think that we do serve a really big purpose in really adding that social context to a wallet so that it's easy to use these things and easy to use this technology. We're on the precipice of the next bull run, one that could be different than any bull run before it, because there's people like you and I having podcasts talking about crypto when interest in the asset class is at an all-time low, and there's legitimate projects building businesses on top
Mm.
of the technology. Yet we have had a little bit of a stagnation in innovation when it comes to the wallet. And so for us, I think we see that as a big opportunity for us. We want to solve a lot of different industry problems with that, and we think Calaxy is like sort of the social interface on top of that. But how you go about getting there, the products or the features that you try to ship in between now and time X, prioritization is very important. So I think the biggest challenge is really prioritization of the features that will make the most users happy. That's definitely the most difficult challenge.
And that specific challenge, is it even more so in Web3? Is it a Web3 challenge? Because of the community, it's like it feels a lot more intimate than, I don't know, Web2 business and developing in the
Yeah.
eyes of these people.
Yeah, I mean, I think you develop in the eyes of these people. I'm pretty you can find me fight easy on social media. I'm pretty outspoken, so it's like an easy target to like kind of follow, in a way. Not that I'm a target and that people like. I think the community has been so supportive of our project. We've been so appreciative to be building in the ecosystem that we have, especially during the bear market. A lot of people gave up on the asset class as a whole. A lot of people gave up on the projects building in the ecosystem, but I'd say that is difficult, and I think also just because Web3 founders try to be transparent, they try to talk to the community in a little bit different way. It's just
Mhm.
different than anything you would see in Web2. But I also think Calaxy uniquely, it's interesting because the aspirations for where we want to take the project almost sometimes make it difficult, just because everyone wants to compare it to X in Instagram today, which is like an unbelievable achievement if you really think about it, because most project in Web3 you wouldn't even think to do that. Your muscle memory wouldn't even allow you to do that. But I think what's been difficult sometimes for us is you build a sexy pretty product, it looks and moves and it's fast, but it's a little less feature rich because it's early days. People are like, well, why doesn't it do this and this? And it's like, well, like, we're a team of how many people? They have 25,000 people working at these companies. I think it's a little bit tougher to keep up with that. But I think it's a nice challenge that we sign up to, because we take we make no excuses. We want to build the best products possible. And our job is to try and figure out the impossible, because that's what the community deserves. And so I'd say that's the biggest challenge that we're happy to solve.
Nice, yeah. I think we can relate as well. Um, what is something outside of Web3 that you love?
Outside of Web3 that I love, shoot, I love music. I love music. I play music. I play the sax.
Wow,
I love
love
it.
the sax.
I think music is like the most therapeutic thing ever. I think if music were just gone, I don't know if I could do this anymore. Music is one of my favorite things. Honestly, it's weird because I'm always listening to music, and like I genuinely love like the actual like the composition of music, like the making of music, like legitimately dissecting music. I
Mm.
don't know if I'm really into modern music as much, because a lot of the sounds like they're just not as organic to me. They don't sound as organic to me. But yeah, no, I'm a big fan of music. That's like definitely one of my passions outside of working out, because that's boring.
Is that a way you kind of disconnect as well? Like, because I find music therapeutic as well, in a way.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Put some nice headphones in, look at the ceiling, just think about all the things that you screwed up on the day, think all the things you're gonna screw up tomorrow, but you're also gonna think about all the things that you did today. And also music is one of those things where it's like the one of the few stimulants in the world that can just make your mind travel, you know? Like the moment you listen to music, it takes you somewhere in time. It's magic, honestly.
Absolutely. It definitely it impacts your mood, your emotions. Like, it's
Yeah,
fascinating, really. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
And how how is it managing your personal work life balance while being the CEO of Calaxy?
To be honest with you, I don't really have one, and it's like not a bad thing. Oh, woe is me, sort of thing. But I genuinely am of the opinion that if you like what you do, like
Mhm.
you're gonna find yourself wanting to do the work. And so for me, like I definitely make time to spend time with my family, my friends. Those are really important. But at the same time, when I'm on Saturday night and I have a crazy idea, it's not uncommon for Chad Weston. He's our chief design officer. Rusty Matt Vive, he's our chief strategy officer. It's not uncommon for us to call each other in the middle of the night and just chat for days on end about what it is that we're doing. And so, I don't work a day in my life. I feel like I have the most fun job in the world. Genuinely believe in that. So I would say, it's important to have a work life balance, but I'm happy with where it is right now. I don't think it's ever going to be as fun as this, like however long, hopefully, God willing, Calaxy is a company that's around for 100 years plus, whatever it is. But I feel like these are the most fun days that we're experiencing right now.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, inspiration just comes, right? You can't really control when it comes to you. So you just kind of
Exactly.
take advantage of that when it does.
Exactly.
And where would you personally like to see Calaxy in let's say 5 years?
Ooh, in 5 years, I would want Calaxy to be synonymous with the the idea of like a peer-to-peer network. I really think we want to be the interface for how which people do things and interact on chain. And so there's a lot of different problems with the industry that we want to aim and solve. That's not just, non-custodial wallets peer-to-peer, like that's also multi-sig key management, that's DAOs, that's a lot of different types of things that we want to look to activate and really create that interface layer that allows all these things to move in concert together. Because if you think about the ecosystem, it is 100% fragmented presently, right? Crypto, you gotta go into Discord, you gotta be on Twitter, you gotta, you have your different 12 different wallets that, all are very difficult to manage. Like, it's very tough, and it's almost crazy to me how we've made so much price action progress, like
Yeah.
progress on the price action, with the innovation still kind of lagging that. I think it's one of those things where I want as crypto becomes a utility more so than an investment vehicle to the general public, I'd want Calaxy to be unlocking that utility for the average person.
Beautiful. Okay, so back to you on a personal level, in your life. Tell me about the most inspiring and influential person in your life and how that person impacted you.
Inspiring, influential person in my life, I would probably have to go with my mom. That's a very tough question. I mean, my parents, but my mom, she's a strong African woman that definitely is the reason why I am. A lot of the good, the bad, and the ugly that comes with me came from her, and I think for better or for worse. I think mostly for the better. That's definitely somebody that I appreciate, somebody that I would love to emulate, or I try to emulate on the daily basis. Somebody that keeps me grounded. And obviously, no one cheers for you as much as your mom does. It's kind of crazy to say, but no one cheers for you the way your mom does. It's the crazy. When no one's cheering, when no one is cheering, your mom is cheering for you.
So true. And when will your mum be on Galaxy? When do you when's that timeline? Because we saw it with
Man,
Facebook, right? How Facebook was for young people, then it was mid age.
yeah.
Now my nan's on there, my grandmother's on there. So with Galaxy, when do you see that happening? When's your mum on Galaxy?
I honestly want it to be the case that the first time that the average person wants to deal with crypto, they like go to Calaxy. That's like our product. The first time you use it, like the casual person. I think that's our target market, just given the UX decisions we made. Um, we've designed it with that person in mind, and so hopefully within the next couple of years, I don't think it's one of those 10 years out things. I think it's gonna just be driven and dictated by what you come to Calaxy for. But Calaxy can serve many purposes, right? Like I mentioned earlier, we're most known for the content creator problem that we're looking to solve through the wallet. But we think a wallet solves so many different things, just like Satoshi did. And so for us, it's only natural that we think that the opportunity to really impact the micropayment space is important for us.
For sure. And what about next year, 2024? What most excites you about looking into next year?
I'm excited about the bull run. I'm excited about the not even from a price action standpoint,
Hmm.
just because price action brings about new entrants to the space.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to challenge the builders here, because for the last couple of years, while people have started to slowly bleed out of the asset class, we've been building products with ourselves in mind. Like you, myself,
Mhm.
like the entire community. We need to build products for the people that left as soon as it got, hard, right? Because convenience is what people seek nowadays, right? And I've been saying this a lot, but even on the space we did, the average person used to have 40 apps on their phone. Now they have twice that, maybe more than that if you're, talking younger generation. So the argument that like a non-custodial wallet should be one of those apps on your phone is going to be more and more difficult if you don't solve more problems than just holding your money. Because like, every other app on your phone probably does more than a few things. And so I think, and it has to be easy, it has to introduce a convenience to you, or it has to solve a problem that's so difficult that it's worth the spot. But you know what I mean? It's going to be that trade-off of like, obviously endless utility, but then also at the same time solving like a critical business issue or critical issue to that end user.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be 10 different wallet apps, is it?
Yeah, right. Like it's
Like
it's
us.
very tough. It's going to be very hard to make the argument that the average user would need 20 wallets.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I always love to ask at the end, if was there a question you wish I'd asked you, and how would you have answered it?
Question I wish you wished you asked me. That's a good one. Um, I would probably ask like I don't know. I'd want to make it hard because I'd probably want to be like, like when something ridiculous. I just have no idea. Like, I don't know, like when Coinbase, something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I think for us, I think it's like, when live streaming, maybe that's one that people like a lot. And so when live streaming, and so for us, we're currently working on finalizing our product roadmap, deciding all the features that we want to build. Quite honestly, we've built a lot of features out, not fully, but whenever we ship something, we want it to just look like butter. It needs to feel good. It's not just going to get shipped because it works. We want to ship it and have it improve what people are using currently, right? So I don't want to just introduce a live streaming feature and have it be just like everything else. I'd want to do something unique about it that draws people to Calaxy that way, and really improve and push that feature forward. And so that's probably the question I would have wanted to ask is like kind of when would be a, crazy live feature, or like when do we expect some of these, other features to drop?
Amazing. Love it. Well, really appreciate you for joining, and for your time, for filming this episode, and sharing a little bit about yourself with the community. It's been
Thank you
great.
so much for having me. I appreciate it.